Hi, Psalm 39. This is a great little psalm, Psalm of David, a psalm that we kind of may remind us of something else in the Bible as well. I'll get to that in a second. So David is pondering, he's thinking, he's mute and silent in his pondering of this thing. Okay, he said, I will guard my ways that I may not sin with my tongue. I will guard my mouth with a muzzle so long as the wicked are in my presence. I was mute and silent. You're going to see that mutedness again in the second half, okay, of the psalm as you read it through. He says, I held my peace to no avail. My distress grew worse. My heart became hot within me. As I mused, the fire burned. Then I spoke with my tongue. What is it that he's going to say? What is it that's going to come out of this pondering? Verse 4, O Lord, make me know my end. And what is the measure of my days? Let me know how fleeting I am. He's thinking about the brevity of life, about his own vulnerability to death. And he says, verse 5, Behold, you have made my days a few handbreadths, and my lifetime is as nothing before you. Surely all mankind stands as a mere breath. Selah at the end of that thought. This line here is a refrain. You get it again down in verse 11. When you discipline a man with rebukes for sin, you consume like a moth what is dear to him. Surely all mankind is a mere breath. And again, Selah. So David is pondering the brevity of life. It's interesting how often what you have in the Psalms is David feeling threatened by enemies. His life is under threat, and he's asking God to prolong his days, to give him a future that he can look forward to. In this case, he's saying, I recognize that ultimately my life is just brief. All mankind stands as a mere breath. This really does remind me a lot of Ecclesiastes. That idea of really ponder your death in order to properly live your life, right? Ponder your death in order to properly live your life. And this refrain just kind of gives us the structure of the psalm a little bit, and it points us to the subject. It points us to the reality that is gripping David as he writes this psalm. Our lives are brief. Therefore what? Well, there's a few therefores or implications within the psalm. Look at verse 11. When you discipline a man with rebukes for sin, you consume like a moth what is dear to him. We can invest our time, our energy, our resources for months, years even, to pursue things that ultimately do not matter. Whether those are tangible things or interests or whatever, we can really give ourselves to things that become very dear to us. But God, in his loving, greater perspective, is able to discipline us, right? He's able to rebuke us for allowing our hearts to go after other things. He's able to, look at that phrase there, consume like a moth what is dear to somebody like David or like you or like me. When you consume a moth, it's kind of graphic, but the moth and the flame, it's gone. There's no kind of lingering remnant of the moth. It's burnt up and it's disappeared. God is able to do that with things that are drawing our hearts away from him. And then I suppose sort of the key thought right at the center of the psalm really is the alternative, where he says, now Lord, for what do I wait? My hope is in you. It's in God that we are to focus. It's in him that we are to find hope. And so read through Psalm 39. Allow Psalm 39 to gradually bring your heart to a place of pondering your death in order that you can really properly live. Psalm 39, read it all through. See what stands out, and then share highlights. As always, in the comments below, share highlights with others, text somebody, encourage somebody that you think this psalm can be a blessing to. And we'll see you next time for the next one.